What new features are there? Well, I don't know. We're about to find out. I will say this is the longest feature video they've released so far. 4 minutes and 13 seconds. They released it in like a tweet, and there's like a 28-second teaser. They also released a blog post. I have all of them up. I have not read them. If they use the word bespoke in this video, I'm going crazy. I'm buying fireworks, bringing them back to this room, and lighting them off. Exclamation point, bespoke. And let's break down whatever this announcement is. Now, you know the rules. You know the rules. No pausing, no pausing, no pausing. No pausing. We enjoy and process the video all the way through, and then we go back and analyze.
We now have, obviously, the two formations that we're going to put into the game, and you have a in-possession screen and out-of-possession screen, so you can see how your formation looks in one area of the game and then how it looks in the other, because now you have control over both.
In and out of possession tactics are here. In FM26, you've got more flexibility than ever before. I am absolutely hyped. I'm guessing you're as excited as I am.
Absolutely. Couldn't be more excited about this feature. Most importantly, is what the FM community have wanted for a number of years, so I'm so delighted to have this feature in the game this year.
I think me and the FM community and all the new players will be thinking, how does this come to life?
Well, we now have, obviously, the two formations that we're going to put into the game, and you have a in-possession screen and out-of-possession screen, so you can see how your formation looks in one area of the game and then how it looks in the other, because now you have control over both.
Why was this such an important feature to actually bring in?
I think there's sort of two answers to that. I think the first thing is, we look at real football. If people want to recreate their real-life managers and create their tactics, you need to have that in-possession, out-of-possession split to correctly, replicate what they're doing. And I think the second part is a more practical part, where, for example, in FM24, if you created a tactic and you had like a winger in a 4-3-3 and you wanted to move him to attack him midfield for an in-possession reason, you couldn't do that without affecting how we defended. Whereas now, with our in-possession and out-of-possession formations, you can make that change for an in-possession reason without it affecting out-of-possession.
That makes me think. Player roles are going to change too.
Completely changed. Player roles are now split between in-possession and out-of-possession. For our in-possession formations, we have some new roles and some roles that have been reworked, and then for out-of-possession, we have a completely new set of roles. One of the biggest things for me is you can have two identical formations in possession for two different teams, but the roles and how they behave out-of-possession will make it behave differently.
How does that differ then between the two?
So if you have an example of a top team, you're the favourite to win the game, and you're playing a 4-3-3 and you have an advanced playmaker, you might want them to be a presser out of possession, win the ball high, try and get final third turnovers. Whereas if you're an underdog team and you're playing a 4-3-3 out of possession, you might want to have an advanced playmaker in possession when you got the ball, but out of possession have them as a screener to maybe sit in a low block and try and cover the dangerous areas of space.
So both phases in mind then, how are you able to actually see the team shape?
So what we've introduced this year is something called the visualizer. And what that is for in possession and out of possession for both of them. And it will show you how your formation is looking in each phase of the game. So it will show you in your own third, in the middle third, and in the final third. And it will show you how, for example, the roles are combined in possession. It's going to show you how they're going to look in each section. And it shows you a very clear way of how your team is going to look based on what you've created in your tactics creator.
So we've got in possession, we've got out of possession, we've got transitions. I'm guessing that's going to have a change as well.
Attacking transition and defensive transition, they've moved into their respective areas. So attacking transition is in possession, defensive transition now sits in out of possession. So they're not gone, they've just been moved.
So I'm picking up FM for the first time. I'm hyped, obviously, just picked it up, but I'm thinking, how accessible are these tactical changes for me?
So one of the biggest things as a team when designing the feature was to make it accessible for someone first time looking at a tactics board, first time playing the game, but also someone that's a tactical expert that already knows what their in possession and out of possession formations are going to be.
Are there any tools available for that?
Yeah, so you can pick your team in possession, and then your assistant will help you pick your out of possession formation, and they'll also suggest some roles that you can have out of possessions.
All of that information on board, the hype is building, the excitement's building. What does that mean for FM players this year?
I think it can mean whatever you'd like it to mean, really. If you want to keep it relatively simple and use your assistant and use the recommended formations they use and use the visualizer and things like that, you can keep it pretty simple if you'd like to. However, if you'd like to go and be very in-depth, you can use the whole aspect of the two formations, all of the team instructions, in-game. If you want to make a change every time you see something go wrong with your defenders, you want to change a formation or change maybe just the player role, you can do all of these things now, which you couldn't do before.
All right, we got to go back. Sorry. I don't know how I managed to not pause on these screens, but we got to go back. All right. All this is happening so fast. These are screens that I want to pause on. We got to go back. All right. Initial reaction. First thing, they use the same song again, which I'm going to be having dreams set to that song for years. Where was I? Where did I want to go? Here, this stuff. I want to do this whole section again right now. I want to look at this whole section again right now.
So what we've introduced this year is something called the visualizer. And what that is for in possession and out of possession for both of them. And it will show you how your formation is.
Okay, so this is the visualizer. Got it. This is the visualizer. And let's look at what the hell we're looking at here. So these are like in possession instructions, basically. So we've got an overview. We've got overview. What are all these overviews? Tempo, lower, time wasting, attacking, transition, attacking width, play for set pieces, creative freedom, build up strategy. Oh, this is like some sort of build up area. What are these freaking sections, dude? Look at how many sections there are to this. Here, let me get out of the way to make sure you can see this because my head might be blocking part of it. This is what we're looking at right now. And then there's this. Oh, those are different, like, looks like a bug to me. I think those names have changed. They're like phases of play. This looks like the goalkeeper stuff, like how you want to do your build up, like, tactical instructions for your goalkeeper and the players interacting with your goalkeeper. This is, well, there's a patience section for patience. Sorry, this is like a whole new screen. This is awesome. And then, of course, we have the actual tactic on the left. This is in possession. This looks a little weird. This looks a little too deep on the field here. The fullbacks are way up. I mean, this, I don't even know what's going on over here. So you can click this and get all instructions. This is all matches. You can set it up for the next match as well. Looking for any other nuggets. You got your opposition report here and your data hub on the Premier League this season and like how we're doing relative to the Premier League this season, which is pretty good. That keeps you focused on what your team's doing well, what your team's not doing well. Good use of space by having this over here as well. That's pretty nice. I'm really just confused as to what these sections are, but maybe they're gonna tell us. Let's turn off the tunes.
Looking in each phase of the game. So it will show you in your own third, in the middle third, and in the...
They do tell you. So your own third. Oh my goodness. These aren't just the different phases. I mean, these are technically the different phases of the game. These are where the ball is. Let's give Jack another run at this.
It's something called the visualizer. And what that is for in possession and out of possession for both of them. And it will show you how your formation is looking in each phase of the game. So it will show you in your own third, in the middle third, and in the final third. And it will show you how...
Yeah, okay, so this is a glitch. It just tells you whatever the section is. Also, I think this is a little glitched out right now, to be honest with you. Because we're looking at final third and we're talking about goalkeeper, where final third should be this stuff. Shoots from distance, crossing style, dribbling, patience, pass, reception. This is the final third stuff. So it's almost like we're the defending team here, but we're not, I don't think. So it's almost like inverted. But I think the key here is obviously assuming that they get that sorted out by the time the beta comes out or whatever, is that I'm assuming this will all kind of be in the right section where this is going to be the defensive third, kind of like in possession, defensive third instructions, in possession, middle third instructions, in possession, final third instructions. And this is going to be your middle third stuff, dribbling, where the supporting runs come from, are coming from, where do you want to progress the ball through, which is a great way to word it. That is a tremendous way to word it. Where do you want to progress the ball through? That's fantastic. And then there's...
And it will show you how your formation is looking in each phase.
This is your overview. This is stuff that affects every phase of the game, your creative freedom, your attacking width, I guess.
So
you can put that in just the attacking section. This is your own third, right? But this looks like it's the final third instructions. Something about this feels inverted to me, which is weird because this is the thing that they're releasing is like, this is our tactics guide, or this is our tactics feature dump. I think the only reason that could potentially look confusing is there's some bugs obviously still in the alpha version. I love the idea. I love the idea that there's defensive third, middle third, attacking third instructions, and then some overview instructions as well. That is fantastic. There's a flank option. Yeah, okay, so up here there's a flank option, which means, oh, you know what I'm going to do with this, dude? You know what I'm going to do with this? Chatterinos. You know what I'm going to do with this? Chat Holmgrens. I am going to change the crossing style depending on the flank. Let's say you're in a 4-4-2, right? You're in a 4-4-2. And on the back post of one of these 4-4-2s, you've got a tall guy. I'm gonna float crosses to the back post. And then on the other side, I'm going to low cross. Like depending on what target you're going to be looking for. So you can change flanks for the instructions. So like attacking third, I'm imagining, because it goes into the middle here. I'm imagining you can like middle, right flank, left flank with all of these instructions. So you can say like, oh, their left back's weak. Let's dribble more on the right flank specifically. It's 9 different instruction areas, and then you also have an instruction overview that determines other things. Obviously, even the way they presented it is a little glitchy in terms of where the instructions are, and the fact that this all says, like, the same thing every time it changes. But it is an insanely awesome idea. Gonna miss roles, and they took away duties. Did they? Is that somewhere in here? I mean, let's go through the rest of this, right? Let's listen to him as well.
Show you how, for example, the roles are combined in possession. It was going to show you how they're going to look in each section, and it shows you a very clear
Some middle goal. Yeah, I mean, this is all wrong, right? This should be defensive third center.
way of how your team is going to look based on what you've created in your tactics creator.
So we've got in possession, we've got out of possession, we've got transitions. I'm guessing that's going to have a change as well.
Attacking transition and defensive transition, they've moved into the...
Okay, these are like full team instructions that are not set to anything. Okay, this is full team instructions that are set to be wherever. I'm not seeing anything new on at least on this screen. I mean, they've changed the way some things are worded, like patience. Pass reception's really the only the new thing. The only new thing. I like the way that they've worded it, like instead of focus play, progress through. That's nice. They clicked out of possession.
So attacking transition is in possession, defensive transition.
Okay, and then you have that little all drop down right here as well. That little all drop down here where you're able to, I'm assuming, focus like left flank, right flank, middle in terms of where you want these instructions to be kicking in. I'm assuming. Let's just make sure we didn't miss anything else looking at these screens real quick.
And it was
I don't think there's anything. I mean, there's like the advice drop down, which is certainly interesting, right? It looks like you're able to have multiple tactics, probably up to 3. I don't know why they would like go through the trouble to try and change that right now. The blog is more in depth with better picks there. Yeah, but we got to make sure that we pick through this first. So what was this section? Oh, the different roles. Yeah, the different roles, they don't get me going. They don't start my engine because they leaked these roles like last year, and I can't imagine they've changed or added a lot of them. But the way this is presented with the key attributes section right here, the key attributes are literally pulled. And I'm assuming you're looking at a specific player here. So what are we looking at? Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva. Hell yeah, there's silver in them hills. Bernardo Silva. And you click on the player and you're clicking through the roles. It literally, there are some banger quality of life improvements in FM26. I'm not going to lie to you. It goes through and literally pulls the attributes for you. Yeah, this is nice. I mean, when it comes to beginners and learning how to make decisions, it cuts, 38 attributes down into 8. So you can really focus on the key attributes for that position. It also gives you a couple of, things that they do. Find space between line, expressive, runs into the channels and is a creative threat. Find space between lines and is a goal threat. Like, what do you want your player to be doing? All of that stuff on this screen is very nice. And then we've got the defensive midfield stuff. Screening central midfielder, holds position, cautious, steps out, assertive. Highlights, now you're only highlighting 5 attributes that are important for a good screening central midfielder defensively. And you've got different role suitability for each role, your offensive and defensive role within the game. So I wanted to go to these player screens too. The in possession, out of possession stuff is great there. It's still not highlighting attributes. It's still not highlighting attributes, which is obviously a bit of a concern. I would love if it highlighted the attributes. Now, obviously, you can click on the thing and it will highlight the attributes for you, as I just tried to do, but this isn't the actual screen. So this is what this looks like. I don't know if I love this. It's a little weird, a little blocky. The whole substitutes thing at the bottom's bad. There's not a lot of room unless you can zoom it out on the right, kind of behind my head where the players are. I don't know if I love the block names on the players. But obviously you have to show in possession, out of possession. It looks like you got a couple options. You can do a combined. You can zoom in on just one or the other, or you can do both. And we're on the both screen, both right now. We'll get used to it. I mean, yeah, obviously the game's going to look and feel very different, and we're going to have to get used to that. But I'm just saying, like, yeah, I'm just being honest. It's not this is the in possession screen. This is the out of possession screen. I think it's a better use of space, being kind of more zoomed in. They've always struggled with the spacing in any screen that you're looking at your actual roster in. But yeah, this is, they're not really, all they're talking about on this screen is really the in possession and out of possession stuff. And you can have multiple tactics, control possession. This is just, I don't really know what this drop down would be, but there is a team shape and team instructions screen. And you are right, and that there is no mentality. So you can't be like a winger on attack. You're just a winger. And that will be a change. But they do have the in possession and out of possession positions here. And you can see the adjustments. Like out of possession, these guys are midfield wingers. In possession, they're attacking wingers. Like all that stuff is good. All that stuff is good. Do you know what the red and the green buttons are next to the players? We have no idea. But obviously this is in possession, so it's like more attack. Maybe it's just personal player instructions telling them where to go or something. It doesn't look like it has anything to... Actually, inside forwards like at an angle, wingers straight up, attacking midfielder and advanced playmakers straight up, inverted wingback is inside, inverted fullback is straight up, which doesn't make any sense. It should be like inside as well. Sweeper keepers up. I think it's direct. Yeah, it has something to do with where they're going. I don't know if it's a player instruction thing or whatever it is. It has something to do with where they're going. Something to do with where they're going. Well, yeah, there's still mentality, but I'm talking about like the individual mentalities of the players, where you'd be like, you're an inside forward on support. Now you're just an inside forward. You can come up with incredibly stupid formations. That is true. You can't come up with that. Let's get to the blog. In recent years, the language of football tactics has evolved dramatically. As the game has evolved, so has Football Manager. Well, eventually. Behind the scenes, we've spent years working with leading experts. When we originally announced player roles being added to FM, this was done to provide instructions for players in a formation when they add the ball and when they didn't. And while this system worked well for that, what it didn't do is allow managers in-game to have different formations for those scenarios. In possession and out of possession formations. Officially in writing and announced on the Football Manager website. The setup and flow feels familiar to returning players. You still begin by choosing your preferred tactical style, but this time you pick 2 formations instead of 1. Once you lock that in, the game will suggest 3 out of possession formations. These are shapes that naturally complement your possession setup. Okay, so they're just suggesting like, hey, this is a nice guide to how to do out of possession. Now, I'm playing a back 10. I am dropping my out of possession team into a 10-man block. Puts unprecedented control at your fingertips. Right. The first 2 are pretty self-explanatory, so focus on those. The both view allows you to see your 2 shapes side by side. Combined shows the average position of your play. Combined shows the average position of your players? Ooh, foxy, saucy. Oh, that's a little naughty. It's your one-stop shop for team selection tinkering because any personnel changes you make in combined will be made across both of your individual formations. I don't even know what that means. Like if you swap a player out and in possession, it doesn't swap the player out and out of possession normally. Are you talking about like some sort of role thing? I don't know. But it sounds like combines the screen they want you to use. Introducing the visualizer. The new player roles really come to life through the visualizer, a powerful tool that shows exactly how your formation and tactics play out on the pitch. You'll find it in the team instructions menu, where the pitch is divided into 3 vertical zones, each representing a third of the field. The visualizer offers separate views for both in and out of possession. Clicking on any of the 9 grid squares reveals how your team's shape shifts. That is very, very nice. I wasn't really paying attention to the visualizer before, but that's this thing. So when you're clicking on the different zones, it will show where your players are going based off the roles and the instructions you have on them. Every player role is displayed in the visualizer, giving you a clearer picture of how positioning and behavior shift as play moves through each phase. For example, take Manchester City's in-possession setup. Here, Nico O'Reilly is deployed as an inside wingback. Where the team have the ball deeper in their own half, he initially takes up a traditional left-back position. As the ball moves further up the pitch, he steps in next to Rodri, and that's where he is at that point. Very, very neat. The same principle applies out of possession. Take Brighton, for example, with Carlos Baleba deployed as a pressing defensive midfielder in a settled defensive shape. He holds his usual position at the base of the midfield. Right. Once the team presses higher, he kind of joins the attack. Right there. Player roles evolved. To fully support the addition of in and out of possession, the roles have been overhauled. We kind of knew this. This got leaked before. If you've been keeping an eye on FM26, you've already noticed some fresh role names. These are part of our redefined in-possession system. No-nonsense goalkeeper, ball-playing goalkeeper, overlapping center back, playmaking wingback, advanced wingback, midfield playmaker, wide central midfielder, wide forward, and channel forward. Some have stayed the same, and some have new names. Goodbye to the Metsala, the Enganche, and the Trequartista. No! They've killed the cool names! How dare you massacre my cool names, man! How dare you massacre my cool names! No Metsalas, no Trequartistas. How the hell am I supposed to sound pretentious when I'm talking about stuff? If they touch the Raumdeuter, I am going to January 6th, the SI offices. I'm not actually. Twitch, I'm not actually. I promise. I'm not actually. You gotta leave one. We gotta leave the Raumdeuter, okay? They didn't mention removing the Raumdeuter, but there's also the rule of 3 in writing where you only list 3 things in this type of position. Some new functionality. Okay, so they're saying like inside forward has new functionality. So goodbye to some of the fancy names, which is ridiculous. Some have new functionality like inside forward, and some like the list below are entirely new. So these are the entirely new roles that are being added that we already read out. Okay. And then obviously they're showing you that. In possession roles define how your players move and position themselves as play develops up the pitch. To complement them, they introduce a whole new set of out of possession roles shaping how your players operate when defending. We won't spoil the full list here. All right, man, keep your secrets. You'll be able to discover them all once you get your hands in the game. A player's suitability for any out of possession role depends on their positional familiarity and their key attributes. Yes. As always, every role in or out of possession is rated using Football Manager's classic 5-star system, with the ratings built directly into player reports. These out-of-possession roles define how your players slot into a high press, settle into a low block, or anything in between. Okay, and that's just the start. Because these roles link seamlessly into areas like training and transfers, their impact will help to shape your management experience beyond the match day. And overall, player roles also brings wider changes across tactics. We said goodbye to duties. That was not mentality, it's duties. Like attacking duty. The flexibility of dual formations and role sets now gives you a far clearer picture of what your players will do in every phase of play. We've also stripped back the number of hard-coded instructions tied to each role. That means you have more freedom than ever to customize or even micromanage. Strip back the number of... Nice! They've stripped back the number of hard-coded instructions tied to each role. Matchday intelligence upgraded. To fully reflect the new freedom and flexibility given to you by FM26 Tactics menu, we've completed revamped significant parts of the match engine. As mentioned in our match experience feature blog, FM26 features a rewritten pass risk assessment system. Players now better judge the danger of a potential pass based on their attributes, leading to more incisive line-breaking passes. Basically, passing is better. They'll also show greater creativity when trying to bypass defenders, sliding passes around them, or lifting the ball Sliding passes around defenders or lifting the ball delicately over an outstretched leg to avoid interceptions. Passing patterns feel sharper, smarter, and more varied than ever. I did notice that in the stuff. Dribbling has also taken a big leap forward. Players can now stand up their marker, bait them into a challenge, and burst past them. Inside-footed wingers cut inside more naturally to create shooting or crossing angles on their stronger foot, while all dribblers vary their carrying speed to unbalance opponents. Combined with upgraded ball-carrying animations, dribbling in FM26 has never looked more fluid. Beyond passing and dribbling, FM26 also delivers a wave of attacking upgrades. Midfielders now time half-space runs far more intelligently to support wide players, while forwards are sharper at spotting and executing cutback opportunities. Oh, they're trying to address the old FM meme of them never crossing the ball, dude. That's what they're they're sharper at executing cutback opportunities. We've also introduced a brand new team instruction, pass to feet, giving you even greater control on how your side builds the attack. I'll believe it when I see it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, true. But they're at least attempting to address and saying they've addressed executing more cutback opportunities when they present themselves. Defensively, the improvements run just as deep. Team structures and pressing shapes have been refined, while interception logic has been reworked so defenders can stretch, lunge, and improvise more effectively to win the ball. So I think we're going to see a lot more interesting stuff with passes, lunges, and like kind of sliding interceptions, as well as creative passes. Goalkeepers feel more dependable thanks to significant upgrades to their save logic, cross-claiming blocks, spread saves, and distribution. FM26's Match AI is packed with enhancements you'll only fully appreciate once you're in the dugout, watching your vision come to life. This includes, but it's not limited to, improvements to defensive headers, covering and marking logic, doubling up, a new player look-at system. A new what? A new player look-at system? Improved stepping up logic, improved near post defending at corners, and new tendencies. Okay. Team instructions revamped. To the right of the visualizer, you'll notice another area that's been entirely revamped. Our display of team instructions. You know what? I did notice that. She might have. Display only shows instructions of areas relevant to the third of the pitch you're focusing on and whether you're viewing in possession and out of possession. For example, with instruction... Oh! All of the instruction... It's not nearly as cool as I thought it was. Little air just got out of the balloon there. You can't vary your crossing type from one wing to the other. At least that the way they've worded it, it doesn't sound like you can do that. You can't vary your like dribble more from one wing to the other. All it's doing is it has all of the instructions, and depending on what third of the pitch you've clicked on, it will only show you the instructions that are relevant to that area. They're not specific to that area. They're relevant to that area. Can you do that in player instructions? I mean, I don't know. Right? But you can't. I thought that's what you were doing here, is setting instructions in that area. It's just, I mean, yeah, it just shows you instructions relevant to that area, not specific to that area. To give you even more insight into the dugout, the team instructions section now has a direct link to the data hub. By integrating the data more closely to this area of the game, you can maximize it. Right, I did notice that earlier. FM26 delivers the most, I mean, this is, okay, basically, this is probably the other big change. All the other stuff is going to be a little quality of life, little this, little that. The big changes are the UI, the match day experience and the graphics and everything, and the tactics. Obviously, those are three huge parts of the game. Yeah, look, this is in my opinion, probably the last really significant update or upgrade that we are going to see. I don't think we're going to see new sections in the game. We probably would have stumbled across that by now. I think it is match day. It is UI. Obviously, those are the big parts of going into Unity. And then they've also just decided to do this at the same time that they're going into Unity. I think that this, likely more so than the other two, is going to affect the way the game looks and feels. If this is well done, if the players on the field respond to this well, and you feel like it works, there is the chance this is incredibly buggy. But the changes I've seen, obviously in possession, out of possession, I feel like I've reacted to that a few times already when the roles leaked and when we basically knew it from the last drop. In possession, out of possession is huge. It is awesome. You can way more accurately recreate how the game plays in real life. It is going to feel more realistic in that way. It's going to be great. There's a whole slew of new tactical options available to you. It's all there. And you are able to use it, which is amazing. I love the way the instructions are set up. Not as much as I did 5 minutes ago. But obviously, it seems like the instructions, the wording has been great, and you can use the visualizer to assess what your players are doing and how they're approaching different things in different areas of the field and really kind of zoom in on that. And the new roles, obviously, not having duties like attack duty, defend duty is different, but the new roles, and especially with those little circles with arrows, it seems like you can do some stuff within player instructions, specific player instructions to try and make something happen. I think this is a very good announcement. The way they did it with the interview style was just, it is what it is, I guess. But this blog is obviously very good, and the stuff that they showed is good, and there's a lot of little quality and life improvements in there as well. There is nothing, and this is great, there is nothing bad to take away from this. No, like, oh, the animations kind of look the same or whatever. There's nothing bad to take away from this. But it's a good feature announcement. It's exciting features that are going to be really fun to use as long as they function the right way. But remember, as I always remind you when we're going through these different features, they're showing us what they want us to see, which is obviously how you build excitement for the game and everything else. So hold, no pre-orders, no fighting, no pausing. But it's looking like this game could obviously be a huge upgrade from the one that we've been playing for the last 2 years. So it's looking like this game could be a huge upgrade from what we've been playing the last few years, which is what we want, because they haven't released a game in multiple years, and so it's got to come in and be a huge upgrade that works. But I'm curious, chat, on a scale from A+ to F on Twitch and on YouTube, how would you grade this announcement? On a scale of A+ to F. I won't say mine until you guys say yours. You're grading it like a professor. Where are we grading this announcement? Out of possession, in possession, the instructions, the visualizer, the combined stuff. Where are we at? How are we feeling? Are we feeling okay? Somebody said bespoke. Finally, we got the right answer, chat. Finally, we've got the right answer. It is a bespoke announcement. How dare you? There's a poll feature? Yeah, but I just like to do this sometimes too. All right, my rating, A-. Because it feels like I've known in possession and out of possession was going to be there for a while. It's not as exciting to me as other announcements, but it's important not to lose sight of the fact that in possession, out of possession is a huge alteration for the way the game is played for the better. I'm going A-. But it looks like everybody's kind of in that A-B range. Couple people going with the C's, and I get that. I was a little more excited about the instructions than I would have been. But I actually wish they spoke about the international management. Yeah. Look, I've already told you there's going to be a real salty video waiting for you if international management is not in this game.